Should you use smart bulbs or smart switches? I've been using both in my smart home for several years now, so I understand the pros and cons of each. I'm going to compare smart bulbs versus smart switches on 5 dimensions: functionality, features, control, installation, and cost, to help you decide which one is best for you. Let's do this. For anyone looking to start or expand their smart home, smart lighting is usually where they begin, but it can be confusing to know if you should be buying a smart bulb or a smart switch. A search on Amazon for smart lights reveals over 10,000 options. Let's break this down so you know exactly what to look for. I'll start with how they work. Generally speaking, smart bulbs replace your existing light bulb, and smart switches replace your existing light switch. There are exceptions to this, which I'll cover in a bit. Let's say you have a room with multiple lights all controlled by one switch. One smart switch would allow you to control all of those lights. Otherwise, you would need to replace each light with its own smart bulb. Additionally, smart bulbs only work if the light source is turned on. For example, if you want to control a smart bulb by voice, app, or smart home automation, those things will only work if the light switch is turned on for that light bulb. This applies to bulbs controlled by a wall switch or a lamp. If the switch is off, then your smart bulb will not work, either by app, voice, or automation. This can be a huge source of frustration, but there is a solution to this, which I'll cover in a bit. Okay, so it sounds like smart switches are the better option, right? Well, not necessarily. Since smart switches control your existing lights, you'll continue to get the same lighting ambiance that you get today. For example, if your existing lights are a cool white light, then you're going to continue to get a cool white light after installing the smart switch. The one additional feature that a smart switch may give you is the ability to dim your lights, so you can adjust the brightness level to your desired setting. However, not all lights are dimmable. I've installed several smart switches with several types of LED lights. On some of them, it results in an annoying buzzing sound when I use the dimming feature on the smart switch. So if you're buying a smart switch for the ability to dim your existing lights, just make sure they're compatible first. On the other hand, a smart bulb allows you to control the kind of lighting ambiance that you want. If you buy a bulb with color changing abilities, then you'll have the option to select from up to millions of different colors to create, for example, a fun holiday or party ambiance. If you buy a smart bulb with color temperature changing abilities, then you can adjust your lights from cool to the warm end of the spectrum. This can be really great for dialing in just the right level of comfort that you want in your home, and also to help your body adapt to its natural circadian rhythm. And virtually every smart bulb is dimmable. Regardless if you choose smart bulbs or smart switches, you'll get the option to control your lights by app, by voice, turn off the lights, or by smart home automation, meaning you could have your lights automatically turn on when you enter a room or turn off when you leave the room. Some smart switches also have a customizable button that allow you to set that to your preferred brightness level for those lights. To avoid having your smart bulb control ruined by someone turning off the light switch, you can buy smart switches that are specially designed for your type of smart bulb. This way, you get all the benefits of smart bulbs, plus the convenience and frustration-free experience of a smart switch. I mentioned earlier that typically, smart switches replace your existing light switch, but that there are exceptions to this. Well, if you were to buy one of those smart switches that are specially designed for your smart bulb, for example, Philips Hue smart bulbs paired with a Lutron Aurora smart dimmer switch, then you can install these dimmer switches either in an existing light switch, or you can really mount it anywhere on the wall, since these types of smart switches do not rely on electrical wiring. They are simply battery operated. I have this set up in my home, and I've installed these switches both ways. I'll leave a link in the description if you're interested. Speaking of installation, how does that work exactly? Well, smart bulbs are the easiest to install by far. Just screw the bulb in to your light fixture and you're done in seconds. Smart switches are another story. You'll have to cut the power to that part of the home, remove the light switch wall plate, and then connect the hot, load, and ground wires to your new smart switch. I am not an electrician, but I quickly learned how to change light switches all around my home. Just make sure you have some idea of what you're doing so that it's done safely. If you're going with smart switches, one thing to check for is if your home uses a neutral wire. There are certain brands like Lutron Caseta that allow you to install the smart switch without the need for a neutral wire. This allows you to install a smart switch in a home of virtually any age. Whether you use smart bulbs or smart switches, you'll want to take the additional step of connecting it to the manufacturer app or your smart home hub of choice, Amazon, Google, Apple, or in my case, Home Assistant. This way, you'll be able to actually control your lights remotely via the app or by voice or include them in smart home automations. And finally, what about cost? Since smart bulbs require you to replace each bulb in your home, the cost can add up quickly. Prices range on Amazon from under $5 for a brand like Singlet to over $60 for a brand like Philips Hue. Of course, not all smart bulbs are created equal, and differences in the price could be driven by things like the brand, the features, the reliability, or just the watts of the light. If you're interested to learn more about this, check out my video on Philips Hue, which I'll link for you here. Of course, if you want to add switches that are specially designed for your smart bulb, like Philips Hue paired with a Lutron Aurora dimmer switch, well, that's another cost. One of these types of dimmer switches could add another $40 onto the overall cost, but of course, these switches can control multiple lights. Smart switches are almost always the more affordable option, but it comes down to how many switches you want to replace or how many bulbs you want to change out. That doesn't mean smart switches are always cheap. In my experience, Lutron Caseta are the most reliable smart switches, but like Philips Hue, these suckers aren't cheap, at about $60 or more per smart switch. I'll leave a link in the description of what I'm using. Here's how I would summarize the battle for smart lighting. On functionality, smart switches are the clear winner. They can control multiple lights at a time, and you don't have to worry about someone flipping off the switch and it breaking your whole smart home experience, like you do with smart bulbs. On features, smart bulbs are the winner. You can dial in your preferences like warm to cool lights, adapt them based upon time of day, or even change the colors of the lights for a more festive ambiance or for a holiday or a party. When it comes to control, I'm giving smart bulbs and switches a tie. Both of them allow you to control by app, voice, or including your smart home automations. And because you can pair a smart bulb with its own specially designed smart switch, theoretically, you don't need to be limited by the wall switch option either. When it comes to installation, smart bulbs win out here. It's dead simple to just screw in a bulb in a couple of seconds as opposed to having to fiddle with electrical wiring like you do with a smart switch. And finally, cost. Here, I'm definitely going to give the edge to smart switches, since in theory, you don't have to replace as many fixtures as you would with a smart bulb. As you can see, it's a bit of a toss-up in my view. So what should you actually buy? Well, it comes down to what you want. Do you want the ability to change color temperature or color of your lights? Then get smart bulbs. Do you just want to make your existing lights become smart so you can include them in home automations or have the ability to control them by app or by voice? Then you might be fine with smart switches. I use both smart bulbs and smart switches in my home depending upon what I'm looking to do. My favorite is pairing Philips Hue smart bulbs with the Lutron Aurora dimmer switch. This way I get the best of both worlds in terms of all the ambiance customization from smart bulbs with the frustration-free experience of an actual physical light switch. I do also use Lutron Caseta smart switches in my home in areas where I'm looking to control multiple existing non-smart lights. I'll leave a link in the description for the products that I'm using. A couple final tips to keep in mind. If you're going to go with smart bulbs, I highly recommend getting a version of smart bulb that allows you to change the color temperature from the cool to the warm end of the spectrum. This can be a real game changer for your overall comfort and ambiance in your home. Also, make sure to select the maximum watts that your light fixture allows. I would not compromise on brightness just to save a few bucks here. Hit the like and subscribe buttons. Thanks as always for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.